It's really echoey, which I think is good. It sort of adds to the ambience. Yeah, I'm going to do a couple of poems, and I'm going to start with one that I did yesterday, but I kind of forgot half of it, and so I'm going to just give it another go. This is a poem that's about my watch, which is currently getting fixed in Hong Kong. I recently acquired an old wristwatch. It's from the 40s when gold was scarce, which gives it a defiant kind of grandeur. It's got a glimmer of hope from a time when war still tore even though it was over. A time when my granny had just lost her lover. We don't know what happened because she doesn't like to remember. She prefers to keep up with time as it paces and let the past slowly become faded. It's like she says, not every minute must be savoured. It's 2010 and Manhattan's summer is in full force. I'm browsing old watches where 47th meets 4th. I must have examined about 100 and then I returned to buy the first. It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes all that choice just helps us realise what our instincts are worth. It's my most expensive ever purchase and I bought it on impulse from a Jew named Boris, who I really liked. He was dishevelled, but his eyes were piercingly honest. Now, the internet says that I paid about $150 over, but matters of the heart, they're hard to measure, like how many camels would you pay for a wife? If you love her, anything is a fair price. And this marvel of mechanics has been counting seconds for 6 decades. It's perpetually present, it just watches as things change. There's a confidence that only comes with age, and we should all thank God that youth is just a phase. For old time's sake, this old watch was bought with old money, earned by my dead grandpa preaching good news to the poor, and handed to me by his faithful wife, who spent herself bringing forth life. She was by his side since 1951, when this old watch was still young. Human history is a battle to maintain momentum, and this watch still fights the forces of friction with its soft, rhythmic breath. It keeps a handle on time, although these days a little loosely, it sometimes needs to pause for a rest. Still, I wear this rose gold relic daily, and I wind it religiously. Meanwhile, Granny, religiously, stands 90 years strong, proudly awaiting the arrival of her 4th generation, heavy in my sister's womb. Grandpa, he is in glory, just beyond the tomb, and I wear the pair of them deep in my chest, in my pulsing blood, in my rising breath, and the snippets of their stories that I clench in my fist are more precious than any gold I could strap to my wrist. Okay. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so I forgot that yesterday. I think forgetting poems is that's like the poets. I don't know, it's like absolute failure. It's like that's the only thing you have to do as a poet, right? You just need to remember your lines. Yeah, I'm going to... a lot of my poems are much shorter than that, which is good. It means you don't have to pay attention for so long. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do some that I've done already, I did last night, and I'm going to do some other ones that I've not done. Do not let yourself be typecast. You are typewritten. The past might be permanent, sure, but every single second is separately stamped, and the plot is perpetually poised to twist. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do another one that I did. I'm gonna do one that I did yesterday, I think. And it's about yeah. I was reading this thing that was about doctors, and it said that if like a doctor does a checkup on you, he asks you to, like, they did a test where he was asking people to, like, take their medication, and in the first instance he just said, oh, will you take your medication, please take your medication. And in the second time he said that, but he touched them on the arm when he was saying it, and like they measured it, and people were twice as likely to take their medication when the doctor touched them as when he wasn't, which I think is pretty amazing, right? It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, right, so I've been thinking like a lot about this, I don't know, the power of human touch, I suppose. And so I wrote this, which is sort of part of a project that I'm part of in London. It's all about human connection. And it's about skin. And it goes like this. There's a lot we could say about our skin. It's a membrane that stops our insides from spilling out, that stops the outside from getting in. It's a surface structure that protects us from the weather and marks the hard edges of our existence with the softness of a feather. It's like a coat of armour, and it grows thicker as we grow older, changing and folding, but always holding true. It's a layer that won't let us be a liar. It's the thing that connects us to other people and to the earth. It is so much deeper than words. Our skin is where we are touched. Our skin is how we feel. Our skin is where we are cut. Our skin is how we heal.
Woo!
Okay. I'm going to do, I don't know if this, okay. Have I done this one already? No. This is another thing. Like I'm actually sort of, early on I studied science, and I'm always quite interested in scientific facts. And this is a poem that's like built off a scientific fact, which I like, because I like that. And it goes like this. In 7 years, everybody here will have entirely changed. Not a single cell in any of our bodies will still be the same. But don't panic. This doesn't mean that we won't retain a coherent sense of who we are, and we don't have to change our names. But perhaps this fact can act as some sort of a sign that humans can't stand static. We all inevitably shift over time. And you know what? Sometimes someone else's shift is going to feel unfair or unkind. But we have to give people what we expect. Space. Permission to change their ways. Permission to change their mind.
Ooh.
Even if I'm 1 in a million, like she said, even if I'm 1 in a million, like she said, let's not get carried away. I did the maths, and that still leaves about 6,000 others.
Woo!
Okay, fine. Okay, this one's even shorter, right? Like a haiku is about as short as poems get. This is actually even shorter than a haiku. And I sometimes think this is like the most profound thing I've ever written, so you need to get ready for it, right? Is everyone ready? Okay, and I think, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go. It's like this. I want to fall in love with someone like you, but not you. And then I think I'll just end, because I think we're just about to have a barbecue. And I'll end with one that's a little bit longer, and it's a little story that those of you last night would have heard already. Because I met a girl outside a lavatory. We were travelling, it was on a Sunday, from Reading to London, an overcrowded train, and then a fat man pushes past and he enters the cubicle and he stays inside what I can only describe as an unsuitable amount of time. It actually gets a little bit awkward, and after a while, me and this girl, we exchange pursed smiles, and I venture to speak. I say, maybe he fell asleep. Or maybe he died. Maybe it's like in films. He leapt out of the window. Or maybe he somehow froze in time. She leans in. I've seen the movies. He's counting thousands of 50s into a black leather suitcase for an exchange that will change history. He's engaging in espionage. He's contacting the Russians. He's... Click. The door opens. And he exits, quite flustered. Me and the girl smile in different directions, as if at different jokes. He traverses into first class to sit, and she has to bite her lip. At Slough, the packed carriage pushes our bodies even closer, and we don't resist. There's no more space left for small talk, so we just race into hopes and scope out her dreams of master's courses, recently unchanneled creative forces, her weekend visiting her mum, and how much she's always loved horses. We arrive at London Paddington in full gallop, and I propose that we stop for a drink. I think the way things crept, you see, on one hand it was so sudden, and on the other hand so steady, but either way, it was really difficult for her to find the right minute to mention that she had someone for romance already. Yeah.
Boo.
I'm holding her wrist on some superfluous pretense we're a bottle of wine to the road, and I don't think either of us seriously expected me to let go. It's funny, isn't it, what moments stick with you. It's as if a single passage of events can come to represent a much broader theme that itself is nowhere to be seen. It's as if these details that just replay over and over and over in our minds, they're really just trying to find a reason why on which to rest. And as for me, we're 3 years on now, and I can only guess why this story lingers. Maybe it's all about how rapidly things can emerge, or how rapidly those things can slip through fingers. Or more unhappily, this story is resting on the fact that my long-wired wish to always respect fidelity does not always manifest itself quite so naturally in reality. Or maybe, more simply, this story is just about its mystery. I mean, why would someone like that spend so long in a train lavatory? Yeah, so there's some poems. I have a website called Pen Paper Pause, like pause as in like a release, like waiting for a small amount of time rather than like the hands of a dog. Pen Paper Pause, and yeah, I have like sketches and poems and stuff like that, and it's been lovely to perform here, and I'm looking forward to all the musicians who are going to come on later. We're going to come back.
Woo! Yeah. Oh.
And that gentle breeze in them summer fields, sweetest melody.
It's still on.
Comes to say
It's
me.
still on. You should turn it off yourself. Face the camera.
Yeah.